All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel, the main event here. And today we're going to be going over the official tier list for Regulation app that's coming up. This is like a preview tier list, and obviously things will change as the season goes on. But we're going to be making more so like predictions. What makes my tier list the official one? Because I'm the only one who waited for the rules to come out. Even though I did agree what the rules were before they came out, I still waited. So mine is official, haha. Question of the day, which Pokemon has the best chance of joining Ensign in the S tier? Obviously Ensign is going to be S tier. It's probably the only S tier Pokemon in the Indigo Disk as far as the returning Pokemon. But maybe something will join it there as the season progresses, right? Not in my tier list, but as the season goes on, which Pokemon is going to have the best chance of joining Ensign? I'm going to go in order of what we have on the screen here. So start with Exeggutor. I'm putting it in D tier. D tier because there are just too many other Pokemon that out damage and out bulk this thing. Better dragon types at that. Not F because, you know, it does have decent damage and it does have decent bulk. It is a Trick Room setter, but there are also better Trick Room setters as well. So I think it should go in D tier. Alcremie can go to D tier as well. The reason it's going in D tier is because Decorate, it's just too slow to get it off. Base 64 speed, I believe. It's just way too slow. It's already hard to get off support moves when Prankster Taunt being a thing. But like when Prankster Taunt is not in the field, you're still too slow to get it off, right? At least be fast so you can get that stuff off before the Pokemon get their moves off. But it can't. So it's going in D tier. Not in the F tier because Decorate is still good. And Trick Room setting and doing damage on the Trick Room is still pretty good. So 9 F tier for either of these Pokemon. Araquanid's tough because it feels like it can evolve to A. I'm gonna start it in B to be conservative with it. But like Water Bubble is a really good ability. Reduces like that fire type damage. Doubles like your water type, your water stabs and everything. It's just a really strong ability. Killer Amulet really does a lot for this Pokemon. It is a bit slow, meaning it kind of has to function in the Trick Room in a sense where its boosting item or its Clear Amulet, whatever you're giving, it can be knocked off. Big buff for a right there, right? So even with Clear Amulet being a thing and Covert Cloak being a thing, it can just knock those items off now. So yeah, you have to be a little bit careful with this thing. You gotta get it under Trick Room. Archaludon has a really good chance of joining like Ensign in the S tier as the season goes on. I'm gonna be conservative with it and put it in A for preview. I do think though that this is one of the prime candidates right here for becoming like S tier. I just think that its bulk is really good overall. Like its physical bulk is really good. Its special bulk is not the most impressive by any means, but like a lot of investment on the Spadef side. We've seen what that can do for a Pokemon like Iron Hands, and it can do similar things it has been doing similar things for Archaludon. So I could definitely see this Pokemon going up higher. But I'm putting it in A because I think it's one of the best new Pokemon. And I think Incineroar just is better than every Pokemon here by at least a little bit, if not a lot. So I'm probably not gonna put anything up there for now. Maybe when we do a reset of this, then we will go back to it. The next Pokemon is gonna be Bastiodon. Unfortunately, I kind of got to put in F because it sits on the field a little bit, yeah, because it has really massive defense and special defense stats. HP is kind of low, but the bulk is really high. But the problem is that other than being on the field and getting in the way, it doesn't really do much, right? Even its body presses aren't really gonna do that much damage. It has like Sturdy as an ability, which is kind of like useless because I guess it gets hit by a fighting type move, which also kind of negates the need for its bulk, right? Like why have all that bulk if you're just looking to get one shot by close combat anyway? It does have soundproof, so maybe you can go like Terra, kind of like Ghost, and then not get hit by like Shadow Ball. I think that's the soundproof one that stops the ball-based moves, or is that bulletproof? Let me know in the comments below because I'm having a blank right now. But it just doesn't really do much on the field at all. Next up is going to be Blossom. Blossom I'll put in D, just because like it's a chlorophyll sleep powder user. It is only base 50 speed, but I think chlorophyll sleep powder is enough to make any Pokemon usable in a sense where like if you really enjoy Blossom, you can throw it on the team and have some fun with it, maybe land some sleep powders, give it a focus sash or something, getting in the sun. You're not gonna like win any tournaments with this thing most likely, but like it's better than like Bastiodon, right? It can actually do something. It can't do much, so it's not gonna go into C, B, A, or S, but it can do something, right? So it can do that. Blastoise I think it's gonna go in C, because I don't think it's as good as Araquanid at all, but like Fake Out, good bulk, like Water Pledge is standard water stab, one of the only like kind of viable water spot users in the game. Decent Pokemon, has some utility, has like Yawn and Flip Turn if you want to go like bulky Yawn, Flip Turn, Fake Out stuff. So it's a solid Pokemon, very solid Pokemon. You can fill a niche on your team with this, because like Incineroar just with Fake Out and Parting Shot and U-Turn is really good, right? And Incineroar doesn't even have Yawn, to be honest, but it does do like more damage in a sense, and it has Intimidate as the ability instead of like Rain Dish, which makes it obviously better. But Blastoise has some of those tools. So I think with those tools, it can be a solid Pokemon. Blaziken, I'm gonna put in B because I think Speed Boost plus Terra plus Clear Amulet makes this thing a threat to consider at least. It's better than like Blastoise for sure. And like while Araquanid is probably better in a vacuum, it also has like its own flaws, right? And so does Blaziken. It's a bit frail. Takes a little bit to get going, especially in a format that's gonna have like Urshifu in it, whereas you kind of need to protect to get your speed boost. And even sometimes that +1 speed is not always enough, but like if you can get this thing to +1 speed, maybe +2 speed, maybe +3 speed, and then you have like that Clear Amulet, so you're not losing your speed and you're not losing your attack stat, then all of a sudden Blaziken is a massive threat, right? So it has that potential. I'm not gonna do camera because I'm pretty sure this one was already in the game. I'm not sure why it's here. Cinccino is going to go, I'm actually gonna put it in C. It's probably surprising that it's not lower, but this one is a Pokemon that has 115 speed, and with that speed it has like After You, it has like Baby Doll Eyes, it has like Fate Tears, it has like Encore, right? It has like utility to go along with like Skill Link, so you can like spam those multi-attack moves and actually get some decent damage down. So I think it makes it more useful than the Pokemon below it. Obviously it's not gonna like dominate the meta or anything, but I think you can enjoy this Pokemon if you really like it. You can kind of make it work as long as you have like 5 other really strong Pokemon on the team, and this can kind of maybe enable some of those. But like 115 is a good speed tier right now. A lot of Pokemon in that speed tier are either running way faster or way slower than their actual 110, 115 stat. So this thing is kind of a speed tier relatively by itself in a sense. The only 110s are like the genies. Tornadus doesn't usually run max speed. Whimsicott is going to be faster than this always anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. So I think it's fine. Cobalion. Cobalion, I think I'm gonna give it a B tier. I think it has like decent stats. Beat up stuff. Clear Amulet keeps it from being like a trash Pokemon because you don't lose your attack stat all the time. Maybe giving these Pokemon items is a bit cheating, but I have to be realistic, right? Like when you're doing these tier lists, these are things that people will and can use. So you have to consider that. I still think like beat up strats are pretty good. But you know what? I'm gonna put this in C and I'll tell you why once I get to one of its brothers. Actually, let's go to it now. Where is it? I think this is just a better beat up justified user. So it's kind of that simple. I think it's just better at it. So that's when I can't put them both in the same tier if I think this does the job better. Kind of as simple as that. Shout out to Tarek. Next up is Comfey. Comfey is gonna go in the C tier because it is a bit passive at times, right? It's mostly like a healer, but it does have like one of those rare combos of Trick Room and Tailwind. It got Tailwind this gen. So I think it's a Pokemon that you definitely can use, especially like if you're playing on ladder versus like Tor, because you have Close Sheet, so people are not gonna know if you have Tailwind or Trick Room. Floral Healing is a great move, and its ability that gives it priority on its healing move is also wonderful. Doesn't really do any damage at all though, which is a bit unfortunate for it, but really good utility. Can work with a strong team of 5 around it, versus like these Pokemon that kind of can work like in a pair, or have a team maybe like they can supplement a team better than the Pokemon in the C tier. But Comfey is a really good Pokemon. It's way better than D or F for sure. Dugong is gonna go in D. Like feels like a fake out Parasong user, cool, but that's about it. Dodrio is probably gonna see any play at all, so let's get it here. This Pokemon doesn't really do any damage, right? Duraludon. Duraludon doesn't really do any damage without having like an item like Life Orb or something. And at that point, like what's the point of like using this when Archaludon kind of exists now? And like, yeah, you can give this thing like an Eviolite, but then you're losing out on like, what is it, Electro Shot? You're losing out on damage boosting items. You're losing out on like having an alternate ability because this has Stalwart and what's it called, Stamina. This one just has Stalwart, which I think is the better ability, but having access to both is kind of nice. So we're gonna put this one in like D because it's not unusable. You can even put in C if you prefer. If you're a really big Duraludon fan, I'm fine with that. But I think it's a D tier mod. I'm gonna put the Electabuzz in C, and I think I'm gonna put Magmar. No, I think I'm gonna put Electabuzz in. This is actually tough. I think Magmar's better, right? So I'm trying to think, does this one go in B? I don't think it's as good as the Pokemon up here. You know what though? I'll do this. Because I think this is a better Pokemon than the Pokemon in the same tier, so it has to go up, and I think Magmar is better than this, right? The reason I think it's better because both of them have access to like a Violate Follow Me now, making them pretty bulky. But I think that the burn chance on Flame Body is a little bit better than the static chance. So I think that I would prefer to use Magmar because it has like Will-O-Wisp and also has Flame Body, so you get a lot of chances to burn, versus this just has like static, right? I think it might have Thunder Wave or something, but still, I think that burn right now is stronger. Even though in Incineroar formats, these Pokemon tend to lean a bit more special, I do still think burn has more value than like a static chance. Next up is Electivire. I put it in C as well, or maybe D. I just don't see it getting out of play. To be honest, I just don't. We have Emboar here. Emboar is interesting because it has some pretty solid bulk. And it has like Flare Blitz, it has like Reckless. I put it in C. I put it in C because I think it can do some damage. Entei has disappointed me a little bit, where I thought it'd be like A encroaching on S, but like it seems like Dragonite's still kind of better than Entei as an inner focus user. Sacred Fire is really good, but like it can miss, so it's like you kind of still want to use Flare Blitz a lot of the time. But I put it in B. Yeah, I put it in B. I put it in B for now. It'll probably like, I think some player might win a tournament with it, kind of crack the code a little bit, but for now, I put it in B. I think Extreme Speed is still very valuable. I think Inner Focus is super valuable. Not being able to get intimidated or faked out is like so valuable right now. But like I said, Sacred Fire being a move that misses, and its E-Speed damage, I'm pretty sure is lower than Dragonite, so Dragonite's still kind of better. So yeah, B tier is fine for Entei for me right now. Next up is Excadrill. I think there's gonna be too much rain and sun manually for sand to be like great, but it does have the Sand Rush ability, and it does have pretty good offensive coverage with like ground and steel. Like you hit like just about every single type for this, at least for neutral, I want to say. Yeah, you hit everything for neutral with this typing here. So I think it's a great offensive coverage mon. Just a little bit slow on its own. It needs a Sand Rush, but even with Sand Rush, like Tailwind is so popular right now that it's not always going to be the best option. I know having the immediate speed is nice, but like whether getting reset and all that stuff is going to be hard for it. So I think it's going to be a solid C tier Pokemon. Executor, D for sure. Propagator, C tier. I think that it's one of my favorite starters of all time, but I got to be realistic about it. I can't just throw it up into B tier because I like it a lot. Really good Dragon Dancer, right? But like Blaziken gets his speed like passively, versus where here you have to like actively get it. And then this has like Swords Dance with speed boost, so you can like Swords Dance versus this getting the +1 Dragon Dance, and its stats are decent. After a Dragon Dance, they're pretty good after a Dragon Dance and everything like that, but it's hard to get the first one up and then start putting out your damage. Flygon, Lando I and Lando T are just worlds better. This thing just doesn't do anything. At least in my opinion. You might really like Flygon. It's not an F tier Pokemon by any means, but I just don't see it getting like play. This thing, it's stuff that it does are just better for like singles. Golurk is probably not going to see any play at all. Ooh, this is my guy, Paradox Entei. I think this is an A tier mon. I think it has too many dimensions for it to be any lower than A. A Pokemon that's not weak to Urshifu and not weak to Flutter with this thing's bulk is actually really nice. Fire Dragons are really good typing because you're just weak to opposing dragons, you're weak to rock, you're weak to ground, and I want to say that's all. Because you're neutral to fairy, you're neutral to water. You 4 times resist grass, you 4 times resist fire. You resist steel. Yeah, and like you get hit by like psychic, dark, stuff like that, fighting for neutral. This thing is very, very versatile in the sense that like you can run like booster attack, you can run booster speed, you can run clear amulet, you can run Dragon Dance, you can run breaking swipe for utility, you can run howl for utility, you can run heat crash for damage, you can run a combination of those things where you get utility and damage. And I think sometimes the best Pokemon ever are ones that are like bulky utility mons that also hit. And this thing is one of those bulky Pokemon that can be a bulky utility mon that also hits. Survives like Surging Strikes with no like investment on itself. It can survive amped Surging Strikes with some investment. It just does a lot of really good things that are very, very useful right now. And I think that it's going to be an A tier Pokemon. Granbull, F. Hitmonchan, I'm going to put it in D because it started a new format, the rock paper scissors format. Shout out to my boy Jody. who's been popularizing it amongst the American Western side. And it was formulated by the Japanese players, I want to say. It's their thing. And like he saw it. He did credit them for it. And now he's throwing a tournament for it. You guys should go sign up for that. It's like a $300 prize pool, actually. So go check out that tournament on Jody Azarelli's page at Soulsor and Twitter.com. Doing a rock, paper, scissors format. You can go find the rules for that. But I'll put it in there as a shout out to him. Hitmonlee is F. Hitmontop is probably C. Fake Out Intimidate is very, very strong. The just problem is that we have a way better Fake Out Intimidator in the format. It does have Wide Guard though, right? Wide Guard gives it a really good niche. So I think anything with Fake Out plus utility gets a chance to be in C in my opinion. Hydrapple. Until someone cracks the code, I have to put it in C, even though I want to put it higher. But like it's slow. It's a slow Dragon Cheer. It has the ability to do damage, but it's going to be inconsistent with Fickle Beam, where it's like it's base 80 sometimes and base 160 other times. Draco Meteor is good. I think Regenerate is also a good ability with Pollen Puff. So like that's why I want to put it higher. But like until someone really cracks the code on making this thing like work really well, I think I have to keep it like in the solid to okay kind of tier. Paradox Terrakion, or Iron Boulder as they call it, I'm gonna put it in B because I think it's really good. These are not ordered, by the way. I'm just kind of putting them in. I think it's really good. I think with like booster speed and plus it's like rock stab move that breaks through protect, I think that's going to be really, really good. And I think a lot of people are going to, like, when it first gets into tournament, I'm going to forget that it hits through protect with that move, right? Because I forget all the time that it hits through protect with that move. It is a good Rocky Helmet user. Not Rocky Helmet, Clear Amulet user, because you don't want this thing getting intimidated. But also, like, booster speed is also a really good item. Like, you can get a speed boost, or like booster attack if you want to get a damage increase as well. But I think Clear Amulet is just very consistent. And I think that it's a bit one-dimensional in that sense, where it's kind of just doing that one job, but it does it pretty good. So I think B tier is fine for it. Iron Crown is hard to say because it needs a lot. Like, it needs Indeedee, it needs terrain. But when it gets that, it's really strong. But when that's not in the field, it's not great. And it's also kind of hard-walled by dark types. Like, yeah, you can like Terra, but like Terra Blast is just never as strong as something like Expanding Force or Tachyon, like Cutter. So it's hard for that move to like get the necessary knockouts at once. Like, I'm not even sure if like Terra Blast fighting Oko's like Incineroar for anything. And not to mention, like, in open sheets, like, that's going to be visible. So like that you're not going to catch anybody off guard in tournament using this thing. But I do think it's a really good Pokemon. I think it's typing offensively. Lisa, it doesn't know, not gonna say Lisa's a little bit to desire, because it kind of hits everything except for like opposing steel types, and it doesn't hit Incineroar at all, which is a big flaw. But it hits everything else, right? And like I said, with terrain on the field, it's pretty solid. This one is gonna go. This one's gonna go in C. Because I want to put it in B, but the problem is that the Pokemon in B are just like more usable, they're just better. This thing is really fun to use, in my opinion. It has really good coverage with like Leaf Blades, Side Blades, has like close combat. If you guys saw my Christmas video, I use the thing really well. Electric Terrain makes it really strong. The problem is you don't have any like very consistent Electric Terrain like automatic settings. You have to spend a turn clicking that, and that turn is so crucial that it makes it really hard to run, versus like Indeedee gets automatic terrain, right? For something to support the Iron Crown. This needs someone to press the actual terrain button for it, or you have to run Pincurchin. And no one wants to run Pincurchin, no matter how much we may love it. This thing is going to go in C as well. Same kind of bit as Excadrill. Swift Swim, Sand Rush, does a lot of damage in this weather. Dragon typing is really good offensively right now as well. Water coverage is pretty nice as well too, to be honest. His defensive typing is pretty solid. But the issue is that, one, we have a way better dragon water type. That can exist in rain and sun, for example, and we'll get to that shortly. But I think it's better than everything below it. Lapras doesn't really do much, but like bulky-ish Parasong user, not as bulky as it used to be, especially without Dynamax doubling the health. But like has Shell Armor to avoid crits, or Water Absorb to take water type damage. You can freeze dry things, you can do Parasong stuff. It's pretty solid. It's okay. The Lati twins, this one's actually going to go, I think it's going to go here actually, because the bulk in offensive users plus speed control just makes it too versatile, right? Because you have to worry about this thing's EV spread a lot when it's on the field. Once you see it on the field, you're like, okay, is it faster than me? Maybe. Can it survive my hits? Maybe, because it's really bulky. Can it kill me? Yeah, its move got buffed to like base 95 Mist Ball when it's called. And it has access to Draco Meteor. And its offenses are not bad. So like it can do a lot of damage. So like depending on the item, depending on the set, depending on how it's run, this Pokemon is going to be very, very good. Its brother is going to be a little bit less good, I guess, because the bulk goes a little bit lower. But the offenses are a bit higher. But I think right now bulk is very important in this form because they're already so offensive. But this thing could very well just be like an A right next to its sister. But I'm putting it here because I do think the sister is a little bit better than the brother right now. Magmortar, I mean, out of respect, I'm gonna put it in D because it's better than these things. But like, cause it still has access, like they both have follow me, right? And they can probably do a little bit more damage than their counterparts. But like these are going to be bulkier and they have the abilities that cause trouble. This is going F because it sucks. All of you guys are allowed to try and do that, like what's it called, skill swap stuff with Hydrapple. Please stop. It's a terrible strat and you guys are not good at it. When you're doing those gimmicky strats, you actually have to be good at them. And the person who like put that out was good at it, I think, right? But the rest of you are not. So please stop using it. Meganium. Oh no. I'm gonna put it in D just to avoid F. It sucks. Meowstic. All Prankster users have viability in a sense. And when I say have viability, it means they're like they're not unusable trash. You can find things to do with it. You can set up screens. You can like taunt, fake tears, or whatever other stuff it gets. Whatever. Metagross is an interesting one. I wanted to put it in B because I wanted to be conservative with it, but like it's got some buffs and its buffs are like it got heavy slam, it got hard press, so 2 single target steel type moves that do damage. Hard press does damage based on the opponents, like if they have if they have full health. Heavy slam uses Metagross's weight, and the Metagross is really heavy. I need to look up how much heavier it is than other Pokemon, but it's really good. And also got like Psychic Fangs, right? It got Psychic Fangs, which is so good for it because its Psychic Stab used to suck. Zen Headbutt can miss. Psycho Cut had a crit chance with its base 70, so when it doesn't crit, it's not doing that much damage. Psychic Fangs is so good for this thing. You can break through screens. You can do a lot of damage. They also have priority with Bullet Punch still. It has like a base 130 defense stat, so physically very bulky. It has clear body, so you can't change its stats. Like this thing can click agility, or it can click like it can do stuff like that. You can click bulldoze next to it and speed creep stuff and give it the weakness policy again. So like it's actually back to being a Pokemon I think you have to care about. So I'm putting in A, which makes me very happy because Metagross is my boy. Minior, trash. Plusle and Minun, trash. Porygon Z, B tier because it just does a lot of damage, right? And like Terra Blast. Porygon 2 is interesting. Is this B or is this C? I think I have to respect this damage output. Yeah, I think I have to respect this damage output. Yeah, I have to. Porygon 2 has not really been performing, and I think the issue is that like Fake Out was always a problem for it, right? But like Fake Out was like one thing which is fine. Incineroar getting knock off the Eviolite has ruined this thing a little bit. It's actually made its job so much harder because it used to be able to stay in the field for a long time because not a lot of viable Pokemon got knockoff, and it used to have more PP for recover. But with knockoff being on the most used Pokemon in the format and recover being nerfed to 8 PP, this thing's staying power just isn't as high anymore. You can still use it very well. Like if I was to order these, I'd put it at the top of C, better than most of these other Pokemon. But it makes its job so much harder. Primarina is actually gonna go in B tier because good special wall, really good damage. That's kind of just all it does. Really good like coverage and typing. Like we don't have Tapu Fini, but we got Tapu Fini at home. You have Water and Fairy. In a Dragon format right now, Fairy coverage is really good to have. And in a format, like I said, that tends to lean special once Incineroar comes around because it mitigates a lot of physical attack. Having a specially defensive Pokemon is really good. Raging Bolt can go in the A tier. This thing's stat distribution is really good, right? Because it's not very fast, but they put a lot of it into its special attack, which is 137. They put some good bulk on this thing and they give it priority to mitigate its low speed. It has good coverage with Electric and Dragon. You kind of just hit everything for neutral. Yep, you hit everything for neutral that I can think of. Yeah, you hit every single type for neutral with Electric and Dragon. People are kind of running it with like no Dragon move, which I think is a bit of a mistake sometimes because then you get walled up by those ground types. But yeah, this Pokemon is really good. definitely got for this because it's going to probably win a tournament or 2 or 3. We have Raikou up next. Raikou is going to go in the this is a bit tough because B tier feels a little bit high, but C tier feels a little bit low, and I don't feel like making another tier. Yeah, I'm gonna put it in B. Conserve is a very aggressive B. Like it's a high, it's like more like a high C, but like it gets like screens and snarls, and it has good special bulk, and it has good speed. Mono electric coverage is not like the best thing in the world right now with all the dragon types. But electric coverage like overall is still decent. Because you only get walled by like the dragon types and the ground types. You also have like electro web, so it's kind of some speed control. Well, it's a decent Pokemon, but it's better. I feel like it's better than the stuff underneath it. Yeah, because it can still do things on its own. It can support its teammates, whereas like everything in here kind of like needs some support in some way. This thing here can support its teammates pretty well. Rampardos, out of respect for us, like attack style, I put it in D tier, but it's not going to do anything. Rhyperior is my guy, and it's just like I don't know if it does enough quickly enough to be like a staple Pokemon. I think like I could probably make it work. Some really good players could also make it work, but I don't think it can be like a staple Pokemon at all. And I think it needs help. These Pokemon here, they need a little bit less help than Rhyperior does. It needs something to set true for it. This needs to get on the field. It also needs to like pop Terra. It's gonna be a Terra Hog as well because you kind of don't want to take those Surging Strikes, or those ground type moves, or those grass type moves, or anything like that. Sceptile can go in D tier. Shed Tail's cool. All those other moves like Leaf Blade and stuff are cool, but that's kind of it. C tier for any kind of Fake Out, Intimidate Mon. It's just a good thing to have, right? And did this one get Party Shot? In the comments, remind me if Scrafty got Party Shot, or it has Party Shot. I can't remember. It's been a while since I used the boy. Superior can go in C just because you have to respect competitive in Leaf Storm and Stellaterra. It's definitely better than all stuff here. It's a very solid Pokemon. This thing is pretty garbage. Just use Corviknight. This thing I'm gonna put in C out of like respect for what it can do. I don't think it's gonna be great by any stretch of the imagination. I do think some player will like crack the code and make it really well, but like not a ton of people are gonna be running this because its stats are too low. And things are hitting through Protect, and things are outspeeding it at +2 speed. It just does not matter. Suicune's B. It's just very bulky and it has Tailwind. So like, and it has Inner Focus, so you can't like fake it out. And it has like Snarl. It doesn't really damage, but like Rocky Helmet or Lefty staying on the field, making sure you get a Tailwind to Tailwind to Tailwind. That's kind of always been his thing, right? Other Tailwind setters tend to just die immediately. This one stays on the field to get up more Tailwinds and to fish for burns while it's outspeeding you. So I think it's a solid B tier Pokemon. Unfortunately for our guy here, he didn't get anything, but he does have Yawn Flip Turn, right? And I think Yawn Flip Turn is good enough to make you a good utility option and put you in the C tier. Tentacruel is not going to do anything, so put it there. Terrapagos is not legal. Toucan is not going to do anything, so put it there. Venusaur is going into the B tier because Chlorophyll Sleep Powder with good damage coverage is going to be awesome. Resisting Urshifu and Fluttermane in one Pokemon is going to be good. And hitting both of them is going to be good, right? You hit Fluttermane with Poison, if it tears, you hit it for super effective. You hit Urshifu with Grass, you can sleep everything else. Can't be redirected by Rage Powder. I think it's really good. Covert Cloak, Focus Sash, Terra Ghost, if you want to guarantee you sleep powders is really awesome. So I think this is a B tier Pokemon. Not as good as the ones above it. We actually have a lot in the B tier, maybe more than I probably planned on doing for this video, but I like that the A tier is a bit smaller. Like I don't have a ton of Pokemon in A tier, so I can live with that. Actually, you know what I need to do though? I need to add something. Okay, editing magic. So I have a new tier, A+, S-, and I'll get to Y in a minute. Vileplume sucks. Virizion can go next to like Cobalion because they're both justified users. This one has like worse offensive coverage maybe, and maybe like a worse defensive typing as well. However, I think its special bulk matters a lot versus this is not very specially bulky, it's more physically bulky. And Terrakion itself is like more balanced bulk, which I think is better. But this is a pretty special wall. It has like Leaf Blade, so you can go into C tier. I think it's better than like the stuff in D tier, right? So I can't put it any lower. This is the reason I made the next tier, is because I do think that it's probably going to be better than this stuff. Maybe not Raging Bolt though. Maybe Bolt is going to be as good as Walking Wake is. Maybe this tier was a mistake. We'll figure it out. But let's put these here for now. And then Whimsicott is also going to be, no, Whimsicott's going to be A. Maybe even B. But I think being the fastest Prankster Tailwind user has its merit. I think being the fastest Prankster Taunter has its merit. The fastest Prankster Encore also has its merit. It's defensive typing. You get to kind of blow it up by Bleakwind, but you can just run Focus Sash. And all of a sudden you're clicking like Tailwind and you're clicking like Encore, so it can only be stuck into Bleakwinds. And it can never get the speed control back. And then your Whimsicott just dies and then you get your Sweeper in, right? So it's fine if it goes down. So I think it's going to be a solid A tier Pokemon. Clover Cloak, Sash, Terra, also very, very helpful. Grass and Fairy coverage is pretty good. You can hit the water types, you can hit the dragon types for a good damage. You can switch in on Draco Meteors and stuff like that. Your typing kind of directly counters the stabs of Walking Wake, which I think are good, even though the thing might run Flamethrower and Flash Cannon, we'll see. But I think that's fine for this is A tier. If it was B, it'd be like the top of B. But I'm trying to think. I think maybe these two are a cut above these. So maybe A plus, S minus is fine. Walking Wake has a good chance to be in the S tier if people play it right, or it could like maybe end up being a part of the pack. We'll see how the format plays out. Zemstrika, trash. So yeah. This is the tier list. This is like most like I said, predictive. I'm gonna redo this. Actually in the comments, let me know when I should redo this tier list. Should I do it a month into the format? 3 months into the format? Should I do it at the very end of this before the next rule change? Let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, let me know where you may keep some of these Pokemon, where you might move stuff up, where you might move stuff down. Don't forget to hit that like button for your boy. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And I want to say thank you if you already are. Otherwise, thank you guys for being here. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.